You know all that tech that's changing our world at lightning speed? Things like AI, quantum computing? Well, it's finally about to get a real rule book. Today, we're unpacking the new Emerging Technologies Bill, which is basically the blueprint for how we're going to innovate and, just as importantly, how we're going to stay safe.
And this is a question we all should be asking, right? I mean, these tools are already in our lives, making decisions about everything from job applications to our news feeds. So who's setting the boundaries? Well, this new bill is the government's official answer.
But before we can really get into the new rules, we gotta understand the game that's being played. What exactly is this new tech reality that we're even trying to govern in the first place? So the bill itself gives us this official definition. And you'll notice it's deliberately broad. It talks about anything with transformative impacts. That's not an accident. They're trying to make this law future-proof so it can cover innovations we haven't even dreamed up yet. All right, so here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to look at the new agency they're creating, check out its mission, break down the actual rules, and then see how it all gets enforced and what it means for you.
So, the government's answer here isn't just a stack of new laws. No, it's a brand new entity called the Emerging Technologies Agency. You can kind of think of it as the new main character in this whole technology story. When you boil it all down, the bill is really trying to do two things. First, create one single agency to oversee all this stuff. And second, provide one unified or harmonized set of rules. The idea is to get rid of the confusing mess of different regulations and just have one clear framework for everyone. And what's this agency actually for? Well, its job is a really delicate balancing act. On one hand, it's supposed to push technology forward, help with adoption, promote research, boost the economy. But, and this is the crucial part, it has to do all of that while making absolutely sure our human rights are protected.
And that brings us right to the agency's core mission. It's really a dual mandate. It basically has to wear two hats at the same time, the hat of a champion for tech and the hat of a guardian for the public.
This lays it out perfectly. On one side, the agency's job is to be an accelerator, pushing the pedal on innovation and growth. But on the other side, it has to be the brake, creating the guardrails and safety standards that protect all of us from the potential dangers. It's a real push and pull. Okay, so we've been talking about guardrails. What do they actually look like? Let's get into the specifics. The bill creates a set of guiding principles, and these are going to be the fundamental rules of the road for anyone building or using this new tech.
This one is huge, absolutely huge. It basically says we can't just hand over the keys to the machines. For the big, life-altering decisions, think healthcare, hiring, law enforcement, this rule guarantees a human being has to be in the loop. An algorithm can't just deny you a loan all by itself. Period.
I mean, we all see the headlines about deepfakes and misinformation, right? Well, this principle is a direct firewall for our democracy. It makes it explicitly illegal to use these powerful tools to mess with elections or to try and chip away at the trust we have in our government.
We've all seen the stories. AI can learn our worst biases. If you train a hiring tool on decades of biased data, guess what? It's going to learn to discriminate. This rule says, nope, not allowed. It forces tech to be designed for fairness and to avoid making existing social inequalities even worse. And the list keeps going. These principles also cover other essential stuff, like making sure your personal data is protected, fighting the spread of fake info, giving people clear warnings about tech products, and even making sure that new tech is developed with an eye towards protecting the environment.
Okay, so we've got the rules, but a rulebook doesn't mean much if there's no referee on the field, right? So how are these principles actually going to be enforced? And more importantly, what can you do if someone breaks the rules?
Now, the strategy here is actually pretty smart. Instead of building a whole new enforcement agency from the ground up, the bill gives power to the regulators we already have. The Electoral Commission will watch over election stuff, the Human Rights Commission will tackle bias, and so on. They're using the expertise that's already out there.
And don't think for a second that these are just friendly suggestions. These rules have some serious teeth. Breaking one of these guiding principles isn't a simple slap on the wrist. We're talking about massive administrative penalties, up to 5,000 penalty units. That translates to a major financial hit, so there's a real incentive to play by the rules. And this, right here, might be the most important part for you personally. Section 34 of the bill gives every individual the right to redress. What that means is, if you are harmed by a technology that breaks these rules, you now have a clear right to take them to court and get justice. So at the end of the day, this entire bill, this whole conversation, it's all trying to answer one massive question. How do you encourage incredible world-changing innovation while at the same time making sure people are protected? It's not about choosing one or the other. It's about finding that perfect balance. This new law is really just the starting point, and the debate over how to get that balance right, well, that's only just begun.